Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday morning, Friday, July 3rd, which means that tomorrow is Saturday, July 4th. Um, and I've heard a whole bunch of stuff about this weekend, and it sounds like there's going to be some amazing things happening. And then it also sounds like there's some amazing patriots who are planning on running out and running roughshod. Listen to the American colloquialisms I'm using, listen to the words I'm using. But they're planning on running out and running roughshod over a whole bunch of black folks and POC folks, and just asserting their rights as American patriots to hurt people who are not white people. So I think right now, 2020, we're getting the reckoning in what America is, and folks who have had a hard time wrapping their head around an idea that possibly America is founded on some anti-blackness and there's some deep racism that's just like so intrinsically built into the fabric of America, like cotton, the fabric of our lives. Take it where you need to take that, but racism is built into the fabric of this nation, right? And so I heard yesterday, I saw some video yesterday, there was a rally going on in Waterbury where people were discussing, I think they're discussing a lot of what's going on right now, but they were also definitely discussing the Christopher Columbus statue there. And as I'm watching what's happening with the Christopher Columbus statues, you know that I love my original source material, and I love newspapers, and I love newspaper articles with what appear to be incredibly insignificant articles, because those insignificant articles usually have quotes from people who, when we just sit back and watch life, end up becoming just a little bit significant. And I share that to say, does everyone remember the movement to not have hyphenated Americans, when a whole bunch of good white patriots made it quite clear that there are no hyphenated Americans, and if you're going to destroy the fabric of America, you will step into this world of hyphenated Americans, and a good American is not a hyphenated American. So yesterday, a group of Italian Americans decided to go, and while this rally was happening in Waterbury, decided that their job was to surround a statue of Christopher Columbus. And if you've seen any of the videos, go check out the videos, look at their stances, look at their faces. These racists are so happily playing their racism game. They've got their special racist roles. They've got their racist faces. They are doing racism. Boy, are they practicing racism well. You go, you little Waterbury Italian racists. But let's discuss that. So if it's not about race, right? And if people are making these big issues up about race, then how did these white Americans all of a sudden remember their Italian heritage so that they could show up to be offended at this wonderful, huge cultural heritage, this display of their wonderful Italianness, which they identify so deeply with, even though a few years ago they were young and screaming about this need to get rid of hyphenated Americans, which then brings me to this other spot, right? Because Marcus Garvey had this wonderful idea, and if you don't know about Marcus Garvey, and deeper than that, Garveyism, okay, so definitely read Marcus Garvey, but then read what was written by folks who practiced Garveyism. Kind of interesting, especially when they decided to destroy the boats, right? So Marcus Garvey had this wonderful idea that we were out of here. Screw this place. We're going to Liberia. We are going back to, we are out of the U.S. We're going to get on this Black Star. We're going to get on this boat. We're going back to Africa. We're done with this crap, right? And so white America felt the need to destroy his boats. And there's always that interesting place because people love to talk about how sad it is to be a black American because they stole our origins, and all we have to identify with is that entire continent, and we don't have a place to go back to, right? So the idea of an actual Back to Africa movement that would take us back to our origins is an interesting idea. However, let's talk about these wonderful Italian racists, Italian American racists, who aren't happy with where the United States of America is going these days, right? Because there's a huge, large segment of the population who is yelling and screaming about creating space, about getting America to live up to the ideals that she put on pieces of paper saying this is what we're going to do. So I would like to suggest that these amazing Italian Americans whose heritage is so incredibly important to them, get up and go back to Europe. Go back to Italy. If your heritage as an Italian human being is so deep and so wonderful that you are offended by a statue of Christopher Columbus coming down, maybe you need to go live with your people. Maybe because this need to be around people who are just like you is so deep, maybe you need to move back to a country where there are people just like you. How does that fit? Is that possible? Is that real? Okay, let's have that conversation. But right now, white folks who get to choose to be ethnic Americans when it's time to destroy your symbols of superiority and racism, and then choose to be white when it serves them well, it's a cute little game you're playing. You might want to get over that. But the games are out and hard. So Wethersfield, okay, so as we're having this conversation, know that I live maybe 3 blocks from Wethersfield. Know that when I go to Ocean State Job Lot, I'm crossing the line. I'm going into their town. When I'm going over to Stu Leonard's, I love your food. Going to go get your food. Got to go down Berlin Turnpike, get deep into Wethersfield, go through, right? So discussing Wethersfield is not always the safest thing to do. And for all y'all white folks in Wethersfield who have been running your mouth for the last year, it sucks, huh? Yo, having your neighbors come out against you really, really sucks. But the Wethersfield Historical Society decided that they were going to just step into racism, step into American racism and ignorance just with beauty, finesse, and grace, right? So I have no clue who created it, but there's a big, black, colorful and gorgeous, but this huge Black Lives Matter banner in front of the Wethersfield Historic Society. And the good white people who run the Wethersfield Historic Society, who they made very sure to say that they're a nonprofit and they're not associated with the town and all this other nonsense, right? But they had to take the sign down because somehow a sign that says Black Lives Matter is political. Yeah. That kind of sucks, right? And one thing, if you've heard me talk for a long time, watch out, the rainbow's doing this thing. I'm going to be wrapped in rainbows soon, kind of cool. But this, see, wrapped in rainbows. I love the metaphors of my life. Just go look up Wrapped in Rainbows, buy the book, read it, and then let's have that conversation, okay? But I like it. So I've got my new pop-up tent here. This is the pop-up tent that I don't know if you can see, but it's got walls. Last night, I've got the lights up. It's really beautiful. The shed is in the background. Tree is going to come over and paint. I have no clue. Yeah, I do. I know exactly what Tree is going to do with this shed, but Tree is going to come over and make the shed beautiful. And hello, Kimura's Cultural Corner in the backyard again with solar lights again. Sitting out here, we'll have all the conversations. But let's go back to the Wethersfield Historical Society, right? So they can't have a sign up that says Black Lives Matter because that's too political. Now, when the Black Lives Matter signs first started popping up, I remember rolling my eyes and just kind of laughing and saying, damn, really in 50 years this is where we got? Because if you remember, if you look back at many of those old civil rights protest signs, you'll see people carrying a sign that says, I am a man. And somehow within 50 years, we've grown so far from I am a man to moving into an idea of Black Lives Matter. We got to do better, folks, right? And one of the ways that we've got to do better is by convincing white people, by convincing the dominant culture, and that's y'all white people. All y'all white people, figure out how to talk to your brethren about this nonsense. If you believe that Black Lives Matter is a political slogan and you can't say that Black Lives Matter because it's political, you's a lack-minded, lacking humanity. I don't know what you've got going on, but what the hell is going on where you can't say that Black Lives Matter because it's political? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should question your humanity and who you are. But I got you, because Black Lives Matter is an actual nonprofit. And when we get to that wonderful place like debate, I love debate team. I love watching high schoolers do debate. And I know that that's a tool of white supremacy and it's building it in, right? So if we can say, I would love to support Black Lives, but Black Lives Matter is a political statement, and therefore we understand that as a nonprofit, we can't make political statements. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Look at me being a good person upholding white supremacy. I wish I didn't have to, but boy, look at me doing this, okay? So that institutional racism, when y'all scream about how institutional it is, who the fuck is making it happen? A whole bunch of individual racists who wish that they could do something different, right? So I'm asking folks in Wethersfield, go out of your way and make the most ridiculous signs that support black bodies and black lives that don't say Black Lives Matter. So right now we get to play a game, right? The games are bullshit, but white racists love games of semantics. So very clearly, they can't have a sign that says Black Lives Matter. I think they need a sign that says stop killing black people. I think they need to have a sign that says Weathersfield no longer condones the killing of black bodies for sport. Wonderful stuff like that. So Weathersfield people, if you're around, if you're listening to this, go confront your historical society, right? Go look at those folks and just ask them, in what sick world is acknowledging the humanity of a group of people whose humanity is completely under the gun these days, right? There's no denying that. In what sick world can you not say that because it's political? Question yourself, look deep inside your soul, and do better. Or wait. Let me not do that, okay? Because let me just honor people's truth. If you are a racist and you believe that the world would be a whole lot better without black people, say it. Stand in your truth and own that shit. Don't be a coward. Don't stand behind rules. Don't stand behind all of these wonderful places where I wish I could, but I can't because the system. Dude, I'm a racist and I'm happy as hell about this. I work for the Weathersfield Historical Society. There was that big old ugly Black Lives Matter sign in front. I was uncomfortable with it because I don't think black people deserve to live. And then I found a technicality. And that technicality allowed me to practice my racism while sipping back and saying, oh, but I'm just a professional. And therefore, I understand that anyone who wants that sign up is ignorant, stupid, not as bright as me, and doesn't have the ability to be professional. Okay, so Weathersfield, the Weathersfield Historical Society is playing their racist game. They're playing checkers. They're not good at it. I'm asking you to play chess. Create amazing signs that say Black Lives Matter without saying Black Lives Matter. And then see what the next argument is. Then we'll go to that place. But I wanted to really discuss all of these interesting places where the hypocrites are showing up. Because we are hearing often, and if you're a black person doing this, you're constantly being told about how hypocritical you are and how stupid you are and how lack-minded you are, and just all this stuff to shut you down. White folks, you get it even harder. There is more of an investment, this nation has more of an investment in you not supporting my life than in me not supporting my life. So I just read this morning, there was someone who was trying, and they weren't sure what they needed to do because they were told that they needed liability insurance, right? So let's think about this for one fucking second. I want to protest this racist society. I want to protest the state-sanctioned violence that is destroying black bodies throughout this country. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get myself a permit from the state. Okay, so I'm going to go to this government entity and get a permit that allows me to go outside and say what they're doing is wrong. However, this state-sanctioned entity has decided that what I need to do in order to hold my protest is I need to go pay some insurance. Now, there's a whole bunch of different insurance brokers, but this is Connecticut, this is Hartford. We are the insurance capital of the world, and our big, wonderful insurance companies made a ton of millions of dollars by insuring black bodies, by insuring the boats that brought our bodies here, by insuring all this shit. And dude, why the fuck are you playing this game? Wow. People are actually going out and getting permits for these protests, and they're getting insurance for these protests, and that's cute, but it's a game, and it's a dance, and it's a dance that doesn't move us. It's a dance that teaches our children how to play the game of democracy and not step into the fight of democracy. So right now, I started off talking about those Italian-American patriots. We started off with hyphenated Americans. Let's go back before there were actual Americans. Let's get back to Sam Adams, right? This is New England, but I kind of think that Americans all know who this Sam Adams guy is, right? Because he's got his summer lager and his pale ale and all this other good shit, right? But Sam Adams organized this action, a dubious action, whole lot to say about this action, whole lot to examine this action, but he organized an action, and his action has gone down in history known, and it's called the Boston Tea Party. And so I would like to encourage anyone who is planning any type of action to just go check out that first action that Sam Adams did and find out who issued his permit. When Sam Adams and the rest of his crew, those Sons of Liberty who are just like, riding roughshod through New England, through Lenox, doing all their nonsense up there, right, having a ball, who gave them the permit? Who ensured their action? And if you're not hearing sarcasm there, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But get out there, fuck shit up, bringing my sisters back in here. I come from a long line of people who understand that dykes fuck shit up. I also believe that the rest of y'all could do this as well. But stop playing the games and stop responding to the games as if there's any type of legitimacy to them at all. Waterbury, those hyphenated Americans who went and stood around that statue, tell them, go back to Italy. Believe me, I would love to. As someone who has been the recipient of Go Back to Africa chants, I would love to stand around a group of folks and say, go back to Italy, and then engage them in the conversation afterwards. What does that really mean? Is that possible? What are you saying here as you're actually protecting the statue? You're trying to protect this fake whiteness, and what you're cloaking yourself with is some fake Italianness. Guess what? America stole your culture. America stole your ethnicity. You jumped into that shit like it was all great, right? Your white privilege, there is no privilege to that shit. You renounced your culture and your ethnicity for the privilege of stepping into whiteness, white American whiteness, which basically means anti-blackness, which means that you got the ability to make a few more dollars than other folks because you chose to play the game. Play the game well if you're going to play it. And if you're not, then shut up and figure out how to be a part of something else. But have a great day. It's Friday, July 3rd. I really need to get out in the woods. I really need to get near water. I really need to get my son somewhere where, again, we can just be out and be free. And I've heard about a whole bunch of Sons of Liberty who got ideas for this weekend, and I'm not sure it's completely safe to get my beautiful little black melanated baby boy, who's 8 years old and not as cute as he was 4 years ago and not as non-threatening as he was 4 years ago. I'm really having a hard time identifying a place in nature that will be safe for this black dyke mama and that black dyke, or that black melanated wild baby boy to be in the woods. So we'll probably be here, Kimura's Cultural Corner, at my house, in the backyard, in the tent, figuring out what we're gonna do. Drew, love you. I will see you soon. We will talk all the talk we gotta talk. I cannot wait. If you're free tonight, come to the corner. So the KCC, every other week we do our corner open mic. Tonight my cousin Drew is the feature. He's gonna be spitting fire. It's going to be an amazing time. Come join us, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out, y'all.